Ramir Hashem continuing today in Perek Aleph, Mishna Yud Aleph, Chapter 1, Mishna 11. And the Mishnah says as follows. Avtalion said, Chachamim, sages, wise men, Hizaru b'divrechem, be careful with your words, Shema tachovu chovas galos, v'siglu limkom mayim haroim. Literally, lest you become liable for exile, and you are exiled to a place of bitter waters. And the students who come after you will drink from these bitter waters and die. And it turns out that the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the name of the heavens, is profaned. Okay, what's going on over here? So the Rabbeinu Yonah comments on this. He says very beautifully. He says as follows: what does it mean? Chachamim hizaru b'divrechem. Sages, be careful with your words. Levaer divrechem kadesh lo tanichu makom leminum lirdos. So Avtalion says that a Rebbe, a Chacham, has an obligation to be clear with his words, because a lack of clarity with the words that are used ultimately can lead to ambiguity. Or I should say, creates ambiguity. Ambiguity could create misunderstanding, and misunderstanding could even chas v'shalom lead to heresy. So that's hizar b'divrechem. Make sure that your words are abundantly clear, because if not, shema tachovu chovas galos siglu l'makom hamayim roim. Because again, the Rabbeinu Yonah understands that this is a metaphor. Ultimately, again, this exile means that chas v'shalom, if your words are misunderstood, and as a result, ultimately, again, people take action based on your words, you become liable for their transgressions. That's the idea over here of you may become liable to exile. So if my words aren't clear, and as a result of that, people are inferring all kinds of erroneous conclusions and acting on those conclusions, I, the speaker of the ambiguous words, bear responsibility for that. Similarly, again, the students will drink of these words. Once again, a metaphor for this idea that if I'm doling out ambiguous words which can be misunderstood and chas v'shalom lead to heresy, then others may drink of these words. So ultimately, again, the idea over here that Rabbeinu Yonah is highlighting is Avtalion teaching this incredible concept that a chacham, a wise person, has an obligation to make sure that his words cannot be misunderstood. It's precision in speech. And if you think about it, it's such an incredible idea, because in order to be precise with one's words, one really has to have a lot of forethought prior to talking. We all know one of the greatest challenges that we often encounter in kind of situations in which we get ourselves in the most amount of troubles when we speak without thinking. Avtalion is teaching us that especially a chacham, especially someone in a leadership position, especially someone who others look up to, has to be so incredibly precise and meticulous with his words. Because if his words open up the door to misunderstanding, and that misunderstanding or those misunderstandings lead people to erroneous actions, then chas v'shalom, the speaker of those words, is held accountable for the mistakes and the missteps which ensue. So that's Mishnah Yud Aleph. Mishnah Yud Beis, Mishnah 12. Hillel v'Shammai kiblu mehem. Hillel and Shammai received from their teachers. Hillel Omer, Heve mitamidav shel Aaron, be of the disciples of Aaron. Oiv shalom, love peace. Rodev shalom, pursue peace. Ohev esabrios, love people, umekarban the Torah, and bring them closer to Torah. So the Rabbeinu Yonah says very beautifully, he writes over here, what does it mean? I understand what it means to be a student of Aaron, right? Aaron ultimately, again, was known for his desire to always create and promote and sustain shalom, peace within the ranks of Klal Yisrael. So the Rabbeinu Yonah says something very beautiful. He says, Rotz Alomar, sheyohav b'libo ha'emes v'hashalom, v'yirdov acharav b'po'al yodov. Ki yesh b'nei adam ohavim also b'leivav shalom, v'shelo sheyitzruchu atzma losum shalom ba'olam, v'enam holchem derech Hashem. So this is incredible. Essentially, the idea that Rabbeinu says is as follows. If you think about it, it's a little bit redundant, right? Be of the disciples of Aaron. What does it mean to be a disciple of Aaron? One who loves peace and pursues peace. Essentially, the Rabbeinu Yonah says, people love peace, right? Everybody loves peace. Normal people love peace. The challenge in life is not to be a lover of peace. The challenge of life is to be a pursuer of peace. Because as we all know just from our own life experiences, sometimes it is so incredibly difficult to create shalom in this world. And more often than not, shalom doesn't just, show up at your doorstep and kind of lay down at your feet. But shalom is often so elusive. The greatness of Aaron, and by extension what Hillel is demanding of us, is not simply to love peace, but to pursue it. Run after it, And even if it runs away, run even faster to try to catch up with it. It's not enough in life just to want peace, but you have to run and be willing to make the necessary sacrifices ultimately to attain it. The last part of the Mishnah, love people and bring them closer to Torah. So once again, this is quite a beautiful idea. Writes Rabbi Aaron margish ba'adam she'osa avera b'seiser holich elav mischaber imo umara asmo av. It's quite beautiful. When Aaron HaKohen knew that someone was committing an avera, what would he do? He would go out of his way to go ahead and express and demonstrate love for that person. Aaron wouldn't mention anything about the person's transgression. He would just love him unconditionally. And when the person who was the recipient of Aaron's love would feel blanketed by this love, he would say, Aaron showered me with all of this affection. If Aaron really knew everything that I was doing, he wouldn't have these warm feelings towards me. And as a result, it spurred a person to be able to do tshuva, pushed a person to change things around. And as such, Hillel says, sometimes the best way to affect change within people is not rebuke. The best way to affect change within people is with love. Is with holding them even closer. And ultimately, again, if they feel blanketed by your love, sometimes that will give them the Hachzek to change. It's really an incredibly profound idea, because often in life we want to help try to affect change within people, whether it's our children, or whether it's our students, or whether it's our friends. Sometimes you make the mistake that, if you just give a person musar, rebuke, tell them like it is, that's going to ultimately cause them to change. Sometimes that works and sometimes it needs to be done. But more often than not, Hillel tells us the best approach is the Aaron HaKohen approach. Shower people with love. That love will ultimately, again, often down the road, give them the strength to affect the personalistic change they really need to do. All right, we'll stop over here for today. Shkoyach everyone, wishing everyone a wonderful day.